Hello, welcome to this week's edition of Virtually Amazing Assistants, the podcast for assistants everywhere. And I think you'll notice that there's something a little different about today's episode, and that's you've just got me. No guests scheduled in for today. As you've heard during the course of the last 24 episodes, I was blown away by the acceptance of guests to come along and chat to me. So much so that I got everybody scheduled in and then got busy and didn't then invite the next tranche of guests to the show. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I'm lining up the next season of guests, season 2, and hope to start recording over the summer perhaps or early autumn. And I'd love to know from you, who do you want to hear from? Who would you like me to interview? Would you like to hear from someone new? Or would you like me to re-interview somebody that I've already spoken to before? And if you're one of those people, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. It doesn't matter where you are in your business life, whether you're independent, virtual assistant, whether you're a corporate executive assistant or personal assistant, I'm sure our listeners would love to hear your stories. As you know, Virtually Amazing Assistants is the second iteration of my original podcast, which was called Virtually Amazing. The reason it was called Virtually Amazing was that podcast was aimed solely at the virtual assistant market, although I had tons of PAs and EAs who listened too. In fact, people are still tuning in week by week to listen to that podcast. And so far, there are 11,800 downloads, which I think somebody said to me yesterday puts it in the top 5% of podcasts. And for that, I'm very grateful. The Virtually Amazing Assistants podcast, which I relaunched or launched back in December, with the idea of talking not just to the virtual assistant community, but to administrative assistants everywhere. And no matter what your assistant job, you are an integral part of any business, and businesses, be they small, large, corporate, any type of business, just wouldn't work without the administrative profession. And some things that have cropped up over all of my interviews so far, we've talked very much about visibility and networking, and that seems to me to be the theme running through, or the thread running through all of my interviews. So I would like to take a couple of moments to be self-indulgent as I wrap up season 1 of Virtually Amazing Assistants. I'd like to talk about what I do and what I provide, because I don't do that in the episodes. Well, just a little bit. I am a Microsoft applications trainer, and I'm currently branching out into the world of AI and starting to bring Microsoft Copilot into the mix when I'm delivering. In fact, I've recently delivered a session for Panza, the Platinum Assistance Network of South Africa, where we had 49 people logged in to look at how Microsoft is incorporating artificial intelligence right across the board and how it's embedded in there. And if you or your organization would love a session like that, I'd be very happy to oblige. I run live virtual training courses for individuals or groups so we can have a one-to-one, like the wonderful Kathy Soulsby. She booked in a Pick My Brain session a few months ago, and we talked Copilot. Jodie Mears, another person who has benefited from one-to-one time with me, to name but two, and there are many more. If you think that you would like to brush up your skills in Microsoft Office, including Copilot, then do get in touch and book in a power session with me, or book in some group training for your organization. That's it for now. I'm going to wrap this short episode up. It's very short. I'm not used to being me talking to camera. I'm used to being me interviewing somebody, and it's a very strange experience. But I'm going to go off and edit this podcast and schedule it for Tuesday, the 4th of June, when it will be the last episode of season 1. And I'll be gearing up to record the episodes for season 2. Do let me know who you'd like me to talk to. Let me know what you want from the podcast, and I'll be very happy to help you out in that way. So that's it for this episode of Virtually Amazing Assistants with me, Shelley Fishel, the MS Office Maestro. I wish you a wonderful week and a lovely summer, and we'll see you back sometime, probably in the autumn, with a new season of Virtually Amazing Assistants, the podcast for assistants everywhere.